So I did my PhD and a few more years of postdoc in St. Andrews, actually working with John on materials and devices for energy conversion. And it was actually during my PhD that I got to work on Supergen 14, delivery of sustainable hydrogen. After the postdoc years, I moved to Newcastle and worked with Professor Ian Metcalf on chemical looping and membranes for carbon dioxide capture. And as John mentioned, last year I joined the University of Strathclyde as a lecturer. Throughout my career, I've built many collaborations, starting from the strong foundation of Supergen, as Paul mentioned earlier. And I'm really honored to have been able to work with all of them because they really helped me grow a lot as a scientist and as a person and as a team leader as well. I've only listed here my current collaborators as they're involved in some of the ongoing research areas that I'll be showing later on. So as I was mentioning earlier, Supergen 14 was actually the very first project that I worked on during my PhD. And my main task there was to design new solid oxide cell electrode materials with enhanced conductivity. And actually this went quite well. We published 2 nice papers in the first 2 years of my PhD. However, it was another discovery made during that time that would actually mark my career and redefine the way in which we think about nanoparticles today. So it was during that time that I discovered the exsolution process, which I later formalized and coined together with John. As many of you are aware, in exsolution, the particles are grown from the support rather than being deposited on it. So in the following years, we published a series of papers that redefined what we should expect from nanoparticles. And as most of you are aware, nanoparticles are really at the heart of a lot of energy conversion devices today and, of course, catalysis. We showed that exsolution can be controlled through the defect chemistry of the support and that exsolved particles are socketed and therefore much more resistant to coke formation and sintering. That particles can be produced electrochemically in situ in a matter of seconds, resulting in very active electrochemical cells for power generation and hydrogen production. And also due to their exceptional anchorage, they can remain pinned, yet undergo restructuring and activation to levels seen in noble metals. In 2019, so relatively recently, we've been finally able to observe for the first time the live formation of exsolved nanoparticles in the transmission electron microscope with sub-nanometer and sub-second resolution, which really gave us a lot of insight about particle growth in general. Finally, in 2020, we opened what I believe is the next exciting chapter in exsolution, and that's the possibility to grow nanoparticles at the surface, but also within the bulk controllably, which unlocks a new way to simultaneously tailor surface activity, but also bulk transfer properties such as ion conduction via strain fields. Today, exsolution is really a rapidly growing field with over 500 papers having been published across many areas of application. So what's my current work? Well, most of my activities still revolve around exsolution development and application in new fields, especially because I believe this concept still has many opportunities to offer in unlocking new physical and chemical phenomena in materials. At the same time, I'm also branching into other fields, but the core focuses of my group still remains material design for energy and catalysis, electrochemical energy conversion devices, and mostly electrolysis, as well as in situ and operand observation of processes in electron microscopy and X-ray diffraction. I also have a keen interest in modeling structure property correlations as a means towards rational design of materials. And I also maintain activities in chemical looping, catalysis, and membranes for CO2 capture. So what about the future? Well, I believe that the latest development in exsolution that I mentioned before opens really immense opportunities for tailoring materials, as it allows us to create nanoparticles at the surface, but also within materials. The ones at the surface would still fulfill their conventional role as catalytic centers, but the ones that are within the bulk could act as what I currently call strain centers, collectively straining the bulk and enhancing bulk transfer properties instead of catalytic ones. So what you see here is a very nice model of the strain fields around this kind of internal particles that seems to propagate ion conduction. And this was produced together with Mr. Stephen Dalton as part of his MEng project. Finally, I also have a PhD position available to carry out the more advanced development of this concept, and please share it if you can. Thanks very much for your attention. I would be really happy to take questions in the question session.